mother-in-law, Beatrice, spent 10 years calling me a bottom feeder. She told my wife Elena that marrying me was like adopting a stray dog, charity work that would eventually ruin the family bloodline. Beatrice lived in a world of old money, country clubs, and Italian leather. I lived in a world of spreadsheets, distressed assets, and quiet acquisitions. She thought I was a low-level accountant at a failing firm. She didn't realize that I didn't work for the firm. I owned the holding company that was currently buying up her lifestyle, one unpaid debt at a time. Last night, she told me I wasn't allowed to sit at the main table for her 60th birthday because I didn't fit the aesthetic of success. That was the final straw. Today, I'm not just sitting at the table. I'm taking the table and the house it's sitting in. When I married Elena, I was a nobody. I came from a trailer park, and Beatrice never let me forget it. At every family dinner, she'd make a point to talk about Elena's ex-boyfriend, the son of a senator. Now, that was a man who knew the value of $1. She'd sigh, looking directly at me, while I ate the budget-friendly meal she'd specifically ordered for my end of the table. For years, I played the part. I wore the off-brand suits. I drove the 10-year-old sedan. Why? Because in my line of work, anonymity is a superpower. I specialize in debt acquisition. I buy the uncollectible loans that banks give up on. While Beatrice was busy insulting my shoes, her husband's textile empire was quietly crumbling. Her husband, Arthur, was a gambler, not with cards, but with bad investments. To keep Beatrice in her diamonds, he had been taking out high-interest, private loans, using their family estate as collateral. 3 months ago, Arthur passed away. Beatrice didn't mourn the man. She mourned the bank account. She assumed the old money was safe. She called a family meeting to discuss the restructuring of the family assets. I was invited, but only to take notes. Mark, be a dear and go sit in the kitchen with the staff, Beatrice said, her voice dripping with fake honey. We're discussing the estate, and frankly, these numbers would just confuse you. You're too poor to understand this level of finance. Elena tried to defend me, but I squeezed her hand and whispered, "It's okay. I went to the kitchen, but I didn't talk to the staff. I opened my laptop. I saw the final notification. The purchase was complete." My firm now held 100% of the defaulted notes on the Sterling estate. I didn't just own their debt. I was now Beatrice's landlord. It was the night of her 60th birthday gala. Beatrice was in her element, bragging to her socialite friends about the extensive renovations she was planning for the East Wing. I walked up to her wearing the same cheap suit she always mocked. "Beatrice," I said, interrupting her mid-sentence. "We need to talk about the house." She laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. "Mark, I told you, you're not on the guest list for the inner circle. Go find a server and ask for some hors d'oeuvre. Stop embarrassing Elena." The crowd chuckled. I didn't blink. I pulled a blue folder from my jacket. "This is a notice of foreclosure, Beatrice, and a 24-hour eviction order." The laughter died instantly. Beatrice's face went from pale to a sickly shade of gray. "This is a joke. This is my husband's house. You're a pathetic accountant. You can't even afford a mortgage, let alone..." "I don't have a mortgage," I said, my voice projecting across the lawn. "I have a portfolio. And your husband sold the soul of this house to a firm called Apex Holdings 2 years ago. I am the managing director of Apex, which means you're standing on my grass, you're drinking my champagne, and you're wearing a necklace that technically belongs to my shareholders." She tried to scream. She tried to call her lawyers. But when her lawyers heard who was on the other end of the line, they told her the same thing. Mark owns the paper. There's nothing we can do. I didn't kick her out that night. I'm not a monster. I gave her until the morning. As she sat on her designer sofa, surrounded by packing boxes, she looked at me with genuine terror. Why didn't you tell us you had this kind of money? We could have worked together. I looked her dead in the eye. Because you didn't care about the money. Because you didn't care about the money. Beatrice, you cared about the power. You liked having someone to look down on. Well, look up now. How's the view from the bottom? I walked out, Elena by my side. She was shocked, sure, but she'd seen the way her mother treated me. For a decade, she didn't shed a single tear for that house. Beatrice now lives in a 2-bedroom condo. I pay the rent anonymously through a shell company, not because I'm nice, but because I want her to know every single month when she signs that lease that a bottom feeder is the only reason she has a roof over her head. Betrayal is a heavy weight, settling in like a slow, cold silence. It begins small, one lie, one favor withheld, one promise broken. At first, we forgive, because family is supposed to be different. But debts of betrayal don't vanish. They compound in the dark. My mother-in-law learned the hard way. The cost was devastating. Tonight, we watch how karma served it cold. She smiled while she took. Behind closed doors, the truth shifted. Small betrayals became an expectation. Love turned transactional. Family dinners held whispers, deals, and polite betrayals. We tried warnings. We tried boundaries. They were ignored. Resentment simmered until something finally gave. And then a misstep, an exposed secret, a deal undone. Consequences arrived like a winter storm, sudden and merciless. Contracts failed, lies unraveled, the facade began to crack. Friends turned away, creditors found holes. Pride hit the floor. The same hands that took now reached for help and were empty. That moment, when truth meets consequence, changes everything. You can't build a life on the backs of the people you claim to love. Betrayal accumulates interest. Eventually, the debt becomes unbearable. We left to protect our peace, to rebuild on honest ground. There was sorrow, but also relief, the beginning of true freedom. If someone in your family hurts you repeatedly, walking away is brave. Have you ever walked away from a toxic family member to find peace? Share below. Subscribe for more karma stories. The next one waits right here. See you in the next one.